Yeah, hello, welcome once again, and it's good to have you back here on this channel. This is Ifeanyi, all right? You're welcome. So today I want to look into something not very new, but looks as though it's reoccurring again, once and again, and that is secular music. Okay, in some of the videos which you have done, if you have been following us, you will discover we've got to talk about one or two things about secular jobs, secular music. When we got to look into music minister charging and all of that, so we were able to try to define the word secular. But this time around, I discovered that this conversation has been around on YouTube for quite a long time. Okay, so if I type the word secular into my YouTube homepage, what I was able to find is that quite a lot number of people have done things in that. Okay, this is the first one I'm seeing appearing: The Dangers of Christian Listening to Secular Music by Vilad Savichok, and that is about 2 days ago. And this is somebody just did something here, just 11 hours. Okay, relationship, modesty, secular music, just about 11 hours ago. Then this one is secular music. This must be a blogging, a micro blogging, where Apostle Joshua Selman said something about that. This is something about secular music, also by Apostle Joshua Selman. All right. So what I could find is that both foreigners and also Africans alike, they've got to talk about this thing. And if you look very well, you discover that this word secular music, and so one thing you discover is that this has been a recurring conversation. So the question is, what exactly is secular music? Should Christians actually listen to secular music? We'll be seeing some comments from the likes of Pastor Chris Oyakhilome. You understand that for this particular conversation to have been recurring once and again, it's have been recurring as far back as 2 years, and here in this current time, in the past few weeks and past few months, we've got to see the other bloggers also speak about it. Some persons who might want to be spiritual might say maybe there is some kind of contention on what people listen to. All right, so
you have spiritual and secular, but secular is not the opposite of spiritual. Carnal is the opposite of spiritual. Religious is the opposite of secular. Are you following my point? So I can have a secular job, and some of us have secular jobs. Abi? And yet you still have a spiritual function in the church. So you can be both secular and spiritual at the same time, but you can't be both spiritual and carnal at the same time. So we have songs that are carnal, we have songs that are secular. One of the secular songs that everyone will ever sing in their life is "Happy Birthday to You, Happy Birthday to You." There is no Jesus in that song, and all of us have sang it. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria is a secular song, but yet all of us have sang it. So there are songs that are not Jesus songs, and yet are not carnal songs.
Secular music is any music not written for the church. It's a really broad category that encompasses everything from contemporary pop music to early troubadours. Here's the thing about that though. The earliest forms of written music were almost entirely for the church, called sacred music. Why secular music is important? Secular music was an important part of medieval court life, providing necessary accompaniments for court ceremonies, tournaments, dances, and after-dinner entertainment. A mark of a nobleman, or noblewoman, was the ability to sing and dance competently. When did secular music start? The first important secular music in the vernacular was the troubadour song in the Provençal. From its beginnings in the 11th century, troubadour song influenced many other countries for some 200 years, especially northern France, where the troubadours contributed a large repertoire of music. Why is it called secular music? Secular music, broadly speaking, is any music that is not religious in nature. The term secular comes from the Latin word seculum, and this was used in the early Christian church to mean the world, as opposed to the church. How did secular and sacred music differ in the Middle Ages? For most of the medieval era, ca. 500–1450, music was primarily reserved for the church and for some lucky members of the elite class. Sacred music was primarily in the form of the motet or the mass, while secular music included madrigals and the rise of both instrumental music and dance music. What sacred music means? Religious music. Religious music, also sacred music, is a type of music that is performed or composed for religious use or through religious influence. It may overlap with ritual music, which is music, sacred or not, performed or composed for or as
Having looked at the commentary and what that pastor was able to define about what secular music is, carnal music is, and Christian music, you will need to ask the question, why even listen to secular music? You know, initially I rightly pointed out that the fact that we've got to see this conversation reoccurring again and again, those who are spiritual actually understand that there is a contention on what people listen to, and for quite a long time this has been a reoccurring conversation. So why listen to secular music, and why is music so important? Pastor Chris asked this to say, which I want us to listen to.
From USA. Dear Pastor Chris, thank you for the opportunity. My question is listening to music a sin? By this I mean music other than spiritual songs. Thank you. Well, all music has a message. No matter what music you're listening to, if it's music, it's got a message. Even if you're just listening to some kind, every music. So it matters what message you're sending down to your spirits, because you're going to become sooner or later the character of the message you've been listening to. So make a choice. That's why we tell Christians, be careful what music you listen to. Listen to God's kind of music only.
So if you have not gotten anything, at least from the documentary, you'll be able to agree with me that the intended word or the intended meaning for secular is actually opposed to church, and not even opposed to Islam or opposed to Hinduism, but opposed to church. So this could actually help you to understand the original creator of that word secular. All right. I began to even look at the word secular job in a different way, because instead of we trying to call it secular job, it could actually be referred to as a corporate job, a corporate job or a formal job. For when you call it a corporate job, it means a job that does not consider if you are a Christian, a Muslim, or an Hindu or a traditionalist. But when you said secular, the word secular properly means opposed to the church. But however, looking at what Pastor Chris had said, I begin to ask myself question. If we are to begin to consider all the music we listen to and begin to ask ourselves question, what message are this musician passing across? What message is this particular artist? What message is this artist passing across? What message is this other artist passing across? That means you will have to watch all of their music. All right. There is this advice which I was able to pick up when I was in school, when this issue came up, this issue about wearing trousers, secular music and all of that. And somebody was able to give a perfect advice. He said, it is better for you just to stick with that which you know is true. And at the end of the day, you find out that, well, you are true. Than for you to stick to that which there is contention. All right, contention on whether it is wrong or right, and at the end of the day you end up finding out that you are actually wrong. So the best thing to do to be on the safe side is, come on, if you decide to stop listening to every manner of secular, and by secular I mean those words that doesn't edify Jesus, nothing will happen to you. Okay, instead, you would have been able to preserve the sanctity of your soul, the sanctity of your spirit. Because from what Pastor Chris has actually explained, music in itself carries message. So the person playing it, what message did that person want to pass across?